According to Young and the Restless spoilers, things are going to get a lot more problematic for Michael Mueller's character, Kyle Abbott. He is aware that he has a 3-year-old son. Can he leave for his new son then, or ought he to defend the young boy? On the CBS soap opera, Kyle's decision could be made by Ashland Locke, Richard Burgi. According to Young and the Restless spoilers, Kyle Abbott was having the time of his life. The romance between him and Hunter King's character, Summer Newman, was thriving. Kyle and Summer's strong bond was emphasized by their recent homecoming from Los Angeles. Long days spent in bed and beach excursions solidified this couple's future together. When Nick Lucan's character, Theo Vanderway, returned to Genoa City on Bly and R, everything changed. First, Theo tells Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope, that Kyle is a parent. He then teams up with his cousin to cause trouble for him. Sally threatened the relationship between Summer and Kyle Abbott by using this information. When Kyle hesitated to tell Summer the truth, she nearly succeeded. According to previews on Young and the Restless, Summer has been faithful to Kyle Abbott. But with the entrance of Tara Locke, Elizabeth Liner, in town, that might change. She has made an effort to stay away from Kyle, but when she does see him, there is an unmistakable energy between them. Therefore, it will be much more difficult to overlook the connection when Tara's son's genuine paternity is disclosed. Summer Newman has a history of reckless behavior and is a free spirit. To a 3-year-old, however, will she be capable and prepared to assume the role of stepmother? For the blonde on Bly and R, the strain might be too much. Summer might start to question her relationship with Kyle Abbott. An immediate family is therefore too much for a young woman who is focused on her profession. On the Young and the Restless, it appears that Ashland Locke is starting to believe that there is a problem between his wife and Kyle. He is thus observing the interactions between Tara Locke and the other man. Is he already aware of Kyle Abbott and his wife's affair? Maybe the excursion to Genoa City was just a chance to play cat and mouse with the unwary pair. According to teasers for Young and the Restless, Ashland has a lengthy history of eliminating his adversaries. One can only speculate about his reaction after Tara and Kyle's affair is made public. Things may soon become ugly when you combine that with Ashland's role as Kyle's son's caregiver. As of right now, Kyle Abbott has made the decision to move on without making an effort to become close to his son. That might all change though, if Ashland is already aware of the reality. The truth always comes out, and as this tale unfolds, there will probably be fireworks, as Bly and R viewers are aware. Scandals, heartbreaks, and unexpected turns are commonplace in Genoa City, but few characters are going to experience as much turmoil as Michael Mueller's character, Kyle Abbott. Kyle was once the Abbott family's golden kid, but his life is now in disarray, and the Young and the Restless spoilers indicate that the upcoming weeks will put him to the ultimate test. Kyle is on the precipice, facing betrayal from his family, a catastrophic romantic shock, and a professional crisis that could ruin everything he has worked so hard to achieve. One mistake could send him plummeting to the bottom forever. However, how did things get so bad? And can he ever get back to the steadiness he had before? Let's explore the heartaches, twists, and turns that comprise Kyle's most recent, and potentially most sinister, chapter. Kyle Abbott appeared to have it all for years. A successful profession at Abbott, a lovely marriage to Summer Newman, Allison Lanier, a gorgeous son, and a strong last name. He was the epitome of what an Abbott heir should be: ambitious, affable, and sensible. However, peace in Genoa City is short-lived, as seasoned I and R supporters are aware. It all began when mistrust caused Kyle's marriage to fall apart. His brief affair with Audra Charles, Zuleika Silver, was the spark that ignited his entire existence, not simply a moment of weakness. Even though Summer made an effort to forgive him after learning of the treachery, their relationship was already shattered. The professional consequences followed. At Abbott, Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, had always considered Kyle to be his logical successor. However, Kyle's impetuous choices and emotional outbursts caused significant conflict inside the organization, particularly as he started to doubt Jack's leadership and Diane Jenkins, Susan Walters' increasing power. By the time Jack brought back Jason Thompson's character Billy Abbott as co-CEO, Kyle felt alienated from both Abbott and the family he had once looked up to. According to spoilers for future episodes, Kyle's downward spiral approaches a breaking point, and what transpires next may permanently alter the Abbott family. According to reports, Kyle has been contacted with a risky business proposal in an attempt to establish himself and regain his authority. Kyle is given the opportunity to start his own fashion and tech hybrid business by an enigmatic investor who is said to have connections to Tucker McCall, Traver Street John. On paper, it appears to be the ideal chance for him to emerge from his father's shadow. However, there are conditions tied to everything in Genoa City. Unbeknownst to Kyle, Tucker's investor might have hidden agendas that could entice Kyle to participate in a plot involving insider sabotage and stolen intellectual property that is specifically directed against Abbott. Kyle may believe he is securing his independence if he accepts the agreement. He might well be preparing to betray his own family without even recognizing it. According to a production-related source, Kyle desires respect. He's sick of being viewed as the family idiot. However, his desire to prove himself could cause him to make the worst mistake of his life. Kyle's romantic life isn't much more secure in the interim. Things between him and Audra ended after his affair, but not before Audra made her mark. She is aware of Kyle's vulnerabilities and is not above taking advantage of them. Audra has been gently attempting to entice Kyle back into her orbit in recent scenes by playing on his loneliness and ego. In one moment, she purrs, "You were never meant to play second to anyone. Kyle, you are a leader. You simply lost your identity. And it's functioning." Ever the vigilant mother, Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford, detects danger. Summer still battles her residual affection for Kyle despite her mother's warnings to keep her distance. Their bond, which was formed through years of intermittent romance and childhood friendship, is tenacious. According to spoilers, Summer might soon realize she's not as over Kyle as she initially believed. But before she can make up her mind about what she really wants, will she find him in Audra's arms once more? A startling turn of events in the upcoming weeks might unite the three in a titanic altercation, possibly involving a highly visible betrayal. His parents are silently observing the situation unfold while Kyle fights his demons, and they are growing impatient. The devoted father, Jack Abbott, has provided his kid with numerous opportunities. However, even Jack's renowned forbearance has its boundaries. According to the most recent teasers, Jack will become enraged at Kyle's possible business treachery in a way that has never been seen before. "Are you even aware of what you did?" It is said that during a heated incident, Jack yells, "Because you couldn't cope with not being in charge, you've risked everything this family has worked so hard to build." Diane, however, adopts a more nuanced strategy. Even when her son is incorrect, she is extremely protective of him, but her attempts to sway events to Kyle's advantage can backfire. Fans speculate that Diane might be trying to hide Kyle's involvement in the dubious business transaction in secret, just to have the truth come back to haunt her. In any case, the tenuous tranquility of this family is ready to collapse. Little Harrison Locke, Kellen Enriquez, an innocent person, stands to suffer the most in the midst of all the chaos. The young child has already experienced tragedy after witnessing his parents' marriage fall apart and losing his mother, Tara Locke. Kyle is now at danger of being even more scared and confused due to his instability. According to teasers, Harrison will pose agonizing questions in poignant future sequences, such as why his parents no longer live together and whether Kyle is upset with Grandpa Jack. These incidents serve as a reminder to Kyle of the harm his choices have caused. Meanwhile, Summer feels conflicted. She still cares for Kyle and loves her kid, but she understands she can't continue to put Harrison through so much hardship. Summer may decide to take severe measures when Kyle starts to spend more time away from home, occupied with his risky business endeavor. According to some fans, she might even ask for full custody, which would put Kyle in a terrible position where he would have to deal with the fallout from his decisions. A surprising ally, Maria Copeland, Cameron Grimes, might intervene just when Kyle seems he has burned every bridge. Both are parents juggling challenging occupations and complicated relationships, despite their recent lack of interaction. Maria may be able to provide Kyle with the empathy he sorely needs because she has experienced her own times of insecurity and failure. Spoilers indicate that Maria meets Kyle at a stressful time, perhaps while he is drowning his sorrows at society. Despite pointing out his self-pity, she urges him to change his ways before it's too late. The woman informs him that he is an Abbott. Your family would sacrifice anything for you. Give up acting like the victim and begin standing up for what is rightfully yours. It's unclear if Kyle will pay attention, but her words might be just what he needs to begin his redemption story. The actual threat arises when Tucker McCall finally initiates contact. After weeks of surreptitiously controlling events, Tucker is prepared to use Kyle as a pawn in his continuing conflict with Abbott. Tucker is rumored to have leaked information that Kyle was unaware of and that implicate him in industrial espionage. Kyle is now facing legal issues and public humiliation after being accused of undermining his family business. Despite Jack and Diane's best efforts to limit the harm, the consequences are disastrous. As shareholders panic and reporters swarm, Billy takes advantage of the situation to strengthen his hold over Abbott. Never one to shy away from drama, Phyllis steps in by offering to assist, though her intentions might not be totally good. In the midst of all of this, Kyle is forced to face the harsh reality that he has turned into the reckless, conceited, and lost man he once hated. The good news: there is always a chance for redemption on The Young and the Restless, and Kyle's may be the most poignant. According to sources, Kyle's darkest hour will force him to accept responsibility for the first time in a long time. He will confront his father, express regret to Summer, and start mending his relationship with the people he has wronged. A heartwarming scene of reunion with Harrison, in which Kyle promises to once more be the kind of guy his kid can look up to, might be a turning point. He might mumble, "I messed up, buddy. But I swear, I'll make this right. No more falsehoods. Don't run any longer." Will his family believe him? That is the question. Or has the harm been too great? As the plot develops, it becomes evident that Kyle's journey is about legacy rather than just personal failure. Loyalty, honesty, and fortitude have traditionally been associated with the Abbott name. However, in recent years, that reputation has been repeatedly put to the test. Jack will have to make the difficult choice of whether to defend his business or his son. Does he ultimately draw a line in the sand, or does he forgive Kyle for his betrayal? And Kyle will need to find the strength to rebuild, not as the privileged heir he once was, but as a man who earned his salvation the hard way. If he genuinely wants to demonstrate that he is more than his faults. Charm and recklessness, love and treachery, success and self-destruction. These contrasts have always been present in Kyle Abbott's tale. However, he could finally have to mature and confront life without the Abbott safety net as a result of this startling new chapter. Will he start over and rebuild his career and life? Will he get another opportunity from Summer? Or will Kyle actually lose everything at this point? There is no doubt that some of the most poignant, dramatic, and memorable episodes of The Young and the Restless are on the horizon. Genoa City will also be watching as Kyle Abbott's world falls apart around him, because sometimes it takes losing everything to discover your true self. Genoa City, get ready! Kyle Abbott's unexpected turn is just the start.